Hi, it's Lee from ColouringQueen.net, and today I want to show you the English edition of The Mysterious Planets and compare it to the Japanese edition of The Mysterious Planets so that you can get an idea of which book you prefer. So you'll see that I've already put some sticky notes on them, and they're just little things that I want to speak to you about when I go through the review. So first up, the cover is exactly the same. It's a glossy dust jacket, and you can see it's reflecting in the beautiful Sydney sunshine today. And if we compare the two of them, you're going to notice one thing, hopefully, and that is that the English edition of this book is a lot thicker than the Japanese edition. So you can see those spines up together. And there's a simple reason for that, and you're probably not going to believe me when I tell you, but the English edition has better paper in it. The paper is actually thicker than in the Japanese edition. Now, you know, that's often surprising because often we expect the English imprint not to be as good as the original edition of the book, and that's just not the case here. You can see from the thickness of the spine yourself that the paper is thicker. Now, it's a medium weight paper. It's nothing more than that. It's a medium weight, and it's white. So we've got the story here, and finally we can read the story. Previously it was in Japanese. Now there is a little bit of difference in between the positioning of the imagery. So if we just have a look here, and we're talking tiny tot. So on the English edition, just down here on the house, you'll see it's got two like little skylights, or on this one it's only got one. And in the original edition you can see that that square is a little bit bigger. So it's like 2 millimeters smaller, the English edition, than the Japanese edition. Just 2 millimeters, which is like, you know, tiny, about that big. Tiny, tiny, tiny. But it is a difference, so I'll just point that out to you in case that's super important to you. So now we've got the planets, when we can read the text, so we can go through and work out which planet that we want to colour in, whether it's the planet of forests or the planet of sweets, which is always my favourite. And you can see that the binding is also very good. See how it's just folding down? Now, I've only opened this book twice. Once when it first arrived so I could have a look at it, and today when I went through and marked up everything with my sticky notes when I compared the two books off screen. So for a book that's only been opened twice, you can see that's folding over really, really well. Now, some of the imagery does run up into the spine, just like it did in the Japanese edition, but you can see how easily it's folding down so that you can get to those tricky places with your pencil. Now, as you can see, the images are positioned quite nicely on the paper, and the paper on the English edition is far whiter than on the Japanese edition. So if you can see that difference between them, the English edition is more of a bright white, and the Japanese edition is more of a cool white. So this is the planet of sea. And I've marked up these two little pages just to indicate to you that where there's a little picture that runs right to the end of the page, just like here and here with the fish, a little tiny, again it's about 2 mils, has been removed with the printing process. So we can see in our Japanese book, just with the seaweed over here, we've got a little, we can actually see that last tendril there, whereas here it's just a tiny bit cut off from the page. And with our little fishy, because it's been drawn so close to the edge of the page there, on the Japanese edition we've got sort of 2 mil between the fish and the end of the page, whereas here it's right on the actual margin of the page, and again with our little fishy here. So again, it's an extremely minor difference, but I'm just mentioning it because some colourists, it is important too. So again, with these images that run up into the spine, if you just move the book over like I've done just there, you should be able to colour up in that area. Now some will be a little bit harder than others because this goes right in the spine there. And this is the planet of snow, which is just gorgeous. It's like a little Christmas planet because we've got Christmas trees and snowmen, sort of things that on a 40-degree day in Sydney, I wish I was in the planet of snow right now because I am absolutely melting. I wouldn't be surprised if you started to see sweat. We've got all of these gorgeous images, and I can imagine colouring these at Christmas time. They're so sort of festive, even though they're winter-based scenes. And we've got our little dancing bunnies. And, of course, some snowflakes. We've got the planet of flowers. And sorry, I missed a little bit there. And again, that's just to indicate that just over here on one of our little snowflakes, a little bit has been cut off because we seem to be about 2 mil short. So it's no big deal on most of the patterns. I don't think it's going to affect your enjoyment of the book at all. Now these larger spaced images would be great for colourists that can do like fancy pants gem techniques and things like that. You can really make that sparkle. And for colourists like me on their training wheels, I just appreciate the large spaces where I can colour in. Now this picture is going to be a little bit difficult for you to colour these petals because it runs right into the spine, and even holding the book this way, it's sort of really, it's been a little bit chopped off by the printing process. And you can see in the Japanese edition it was the same story. It's just an image that should have been positioned more over onto the left side, so that's you know, really there's nothing that can be helped, and it's the same in both books. We've got these beautiful wreaths, and we're still in the planet of flowers. And soon we'll be in my favourite planet, which is the planet of sweets. Look at all these beautiful cupcakes, and oh, you could lose yourself for hours on the planet of sweets, I'm telling you. Plus there's no weight to be gained, just colouring the planet of sweets. A beautiful gingerbread house with our cute little bunny rabbit. We've got a number of, you know, nice little animals, etc. in this book, as well as a huge variety of illustrations with each planet. So you can sort of pick and choose and go, oh, I'm in the mood for colouring strawberries today, and so you want to go to the planet of sweets to do that, or I'm in the mood for flowers, so again I want to go to the planet of sweets. Oh, sorry, the planet of flowers. So this one I've marked up, and it's to indicate that the line art in the English edition is actually crisper and darker than what it is in the Japanese edition. So you can see the same illustration. It's more of a dark grey on this one, and on the English edition it's blacker. So for those of us that have to wear reading glasses, etc., this one's going to be easier for you to see. So we've got the planet of magic. And again, the line art is darker in the English edition for the planet of magic. And the images are running into the spine, but as you can see from that binding, it's laying down pretty flat, and as I said, I've only opened it twice. And now we finish off with the girls' room. And after the little girl has gone on her journey through the planets, she comes home and, dreams of her next adventure. So this is her flying home as a bird to her next adventure. And I've marked up this because, again, we're missing just a couple of mil on the houses down the side here. So it's only about 2 mil. So I never expected that the English publishers would go to the expense of putting this piece of tracing paper in the book that's in the original Japanese book. And what you do with this is you colour it in and then you place it over the image to get a different look. So you can place it over the birdie or over the little girl to get a different look. And that's expensive to put that sort of insert in a book and change paper like that. So it really took me by surprise that in their reproduction of this book that they actually put that in as well, which is in the original book as well. So it's been very well put together, and other than those few little millimeters in some images, it's really pretty well the same, except it's in English and the paper is whiter and the ink colour is darker and easier to see, especially if you have minor visual impairment. Now, another feature in the Japanese book is this set of letters at the end, which were on a peachy sort of light coloured paper. So again, I didn't think they would change and put coloured paper in the book, but of course they've surprised me and they've done exactly that. So this is the original, and you can see it's the same. The original's slightly a shade lighter than the English imprint over here, but they've used the different colour paper and they've put that set of alphabet letters in at the end. That was a feature of the original book. So these are printed on both sides, so if you did want to use them, you would have to trace them out or photocopy them or something like that, because otherwise they're printed both sides. You'd end up cutting out one of the other letters. So again, their attention to detail in putting this together has really surprised me, and I'm super pleased that they got the imprint rights for this book, because they've done such a good job on creating it just like the original. So there we have it, The Mysterious Planets, compared with the original Japanese edition of The Mysterious Planets. The links to purchase either of those books are below the video. Until next time, happy colouring.